Truth Talkers. Welcome back to another episode of Teattime Truth Talk with your host, Alicia Pacheco, and my father.
Rev Rich.
And as always, we have another great episode for you today. And we do want to apologize for not being on last week and keeping up with the videos. It was these last 2 weeks. For me personally, a friend of mine 2 years ago passed around this week, so it's been a little rough for me and my friends and things like that. Because let me tell you, those last 2 weeks, well, 2 years ago was crazy leading up to what we had to deal with for 2 years, COVID, which was funny because the other day I was talking to a friend who the topic is based off today, and we were talking about that, how we were going through such crazy times the 2 weeks leading up to COVID, and we were talking about how COVID had changed a lot of people over the years. I'm pretty sure not just us, but you guys out there as well has gone through so much with the mask mandate and the lockdown 2 years ago and things like that. So that's going to bring in and tie in today with our topic today, which is called uncovering the confidence from within. But before we get into it, as always,
Subscribe, like, share the video as always. Again, great news. In a couple of days, we'll be being interviewed by another minister that I know out in the Philippines who has caught this show and caught some of my other works and really interested in talking to us about it and sharing it out to the world. So thank you for supporting. Thank you for watching. But again, make sure that you're sharing and liking and hit that bell so you know when it's at. And we're also posting it on our podcast. So if you're a
yeah,
podcast person, just go to any podcast, search for With Every Encounter. We have pretty much an episode for every day from everything I do. But this is one of those episodes you can catch on there.
absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. So, like I said, the topic today is uncovering the confidence from within. So the situation goes like this. COVID has been a big pain in my butt for the past 2 years, and thankfully, we are finally getting back to normal. But within those 2 years, I have lost interest not only in my hobbies and things I loved, but myself as well. How do I get back to my old confident self?
Yeah.
All right?
I think we all suffered that. When you become lethargic, you know, on the onset of COVID, on the onset of COVID, my work week went from working from home 4 days a week and going to work 1 day a week just to cover. And then that got covered, so now I've been sitting at home for over years. I've moved jobs at this
Mm-hmm.
point, and I'm still at home. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you need to just, I mean, action is everything. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's Tony Robbins used to always say that. He says motion creates the motion. So you want to get up and do something. In fact, my talk this week's Wisdom Wednesday will be on principle number 5 that we learned in Unity, which is it's not enough to know the truth, but you have to actually live the truth, which is all about action. So now that you can get out, now that you can do stuff, you need to get your mind ready to start acting pretty much. And I hate to use the word normal because I think through the pandemic we all grew. We've changed.
That's true.
Our priorities have changed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, before the pandemic, one of the things is, people were so attached to certain things had to happen. You had to have certain people in your life, and you had to have this and that. Over COVID, you learned that you can be self sufficient, that the priority has to be you.
That is very true.
And if you took the lessons with that and not throw it out the window because I'm free, I can go do anything, but you kept to those lessons, you'll see how much your life will change. And your confidence level will build because now you don't need those things in your life. Now you can pick and choose what you want and what's absolutely necessary for you.
That is true.
So, again, in this time of COVID, I took the time to get my bachelor's degree. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And heading toward my master's. I've picked up more certifications. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So even though I wasn't going out, I was using my time wisely to study and do things. When the church I was with, prior to them shutting down, or kind of not shutting down, but going down a bit, we were doing the lessons online. You were helping me with that,
Yes.
and that will be coming up soon as well. Um, So again, people coming out of COVID are looking for stuff. So I had we got a recent request saying, well, I want my kids and I want myself to start, learning spirituality. And it took a lot for me to say, okay, I got to build up that confidence to do
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
not this Sunday, but the Sunday coming up, we will have a Sunday service where, of course, I'll be doing the preaching and she'll be doing the singing. So
Same
check,
old, same old.
yeah, so check it out. But that's the point. It's doing something. You
Yeah.
need to see where you were, where you wanted to be, and finally say, I'm ready to do it.
Mhm.
And then take that first step. It doesn't have to be a giant step. Take that first step. I'm going through some stuff myself, and I know that I got to take my little step here, there, and I mean that literally, to get back to where I was, so that I can give that energy I once had back to the people looking for teachings, or looking for talks, or looking for life coaching. Whatever it is, I want to give all of me, and I couldn't do that during the pandemic because all of me kind of got shrunk to work from
Same five other people and a couple of
home.
animals.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I definitely related to this topic a lot, especially the past couple of the last 2 years because of the fact of we were in lockdown. And a lot of you who have kept up with watching the videos and stuff, you've heard of the different lessons and things and the stories that I've told happened within those 2 years. So, like I said, how I've let go a lot of people, it definitely not only helped me work on myself, but I also learned that I actually became more of a hermit where I didn't want to leave the house. So, COVID and all that stuff definitely hit me in that way as well. So, I really learned, had to learn to do more for myself, and I'm definitely getting back out there, especially now spring is finally here. Knock on wood, no more snow. I'm over it. But I definitely took that step to say I need to get out there more and be more social because being inside is not who I am. I like being out there, going on adventures, whether it's big or small, and um, excuse me, and learning new things and mingling with new people and reconnecting with old people. And I just lost it all, and it was not healthy for me mentally, emotionally, and physically. So now I get up every morning. I go to the gym with my mom. I make breakfast. I've reconnected with so many people that I haven't heard in the past 2 years, and I was like, I forgot you existed for a moment there. Hi. And things like that. So it's like definitely, like you said, take the action and just make a routine. I think that's another thing as well. Is like figure out what you want to do and take those small steps and keep up with the routine. Because I know a lot of us are very lazy and like to procrastinate and then have a routine and then fall out of it. No, you got to keep up with that routine as well because it will definitely help you gain your confidence and get back to the way things were or make it better than the way things were as well.
Yeah, and I think with the routine part of it is you also got to build that for that confidence to go up is you have to appreciate yourself. You have to celebrate yourself
Hmm.
because prior to the COVID, people were doing things for other appreciation. And I've told you this. I usually can see in people where they only feel important when the people around them are important. And I know I was told by my mentor many a times, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in trouble because
Yeah.
there's nowhere for you to grow. So what COVID did was now the only person to celebrate anything I have other than my immediate family was me.
Hmm.
So I had to learn to celebrate me where now when I go out and do talks or I do a Sunday service with you or whatever, I'm no longer worried about the people and their comments, but more the people that do take it and get inspired by whether it's our talk here or our Sunday talk or any of the other stuff we do, that they're becoming inspired, that I was able to breathe life, which is what inspire means, to breathe life into someone.
Absolutely.
So again, that's what to me this show is that we're going cross generational. I'm still the young guy, but still, we're going over multi generations of advice from teenagers to us old folks to still go through a lot of the same things, and that's what this is about. It's about inspiring, but we no longer have to have that audience
Mm-hmm.
For us old folks, prior to digital sound and sampling, there was a laugh track that was caused by a live studio audience and somebody holding up a card going applause, laugh.
Like Shrek.
Right. That's literally true. If you ever watched the makings of old shows, that's what they would do. They would tell people when to laugh. They
Oh
would tell people
wow.
when to clap so that the people watching could think that, oh, this was funny, and because laughter is contagious.
Oh, I'd be the person to laugh at the wrong moment in time. I'd be like, I thought that was funny. No one else thought that was funny. I'd laugh. I'm sorry. I'd get kicked out. I thought they just laughed because it was funny.
No, but if it is funny, it's true. But I'm just saying, but if you take that more metaphorically and
Hmm.
say, the only reason I kept people around me was to make me feel better about myself, COVID came along and took it all away from me. And now there's nobody to cheer. There's nobody to hold up those cards. There's no one to talk. Um, so, because of that, you may want to now look at yourself and say, what I'm speaking from, am I speaking from the heart?
Hmm.
What I'm doing, am I doing it from a place of love, a place of commitment, and know that no matter what happens, I'm excited for myself and we fail forward.
Absolutely. No, I've thought about that too because there's a couple of things that's been happening this week as well. Like I said, reconnecting with new people and things like that. And I'm like, I know I personally have definitely grown as a person and loved myself a lot more than I did before. Because again, when you're in high school, there's a lot of that stereotypical stuff and insecurities and doubt falls in your own mind. Once you come out of high school, now you're that teen adult where you're not a child, but you're also an adult. And so I just call us teen adults because I never know what to call myself. Because one minute it's you're a child, the other minute is you're an adult. And I'm like, but you just did what? I don't know what I am. I'm a mutant at this point. Like, I don't know. But growing along for the past few years, it definitely, you do learn to grow and learn to love yourself a lot more.
And that's why I enjoy doing this talk with you as well as when I used to talk to teenagers because for me, I did most of my growing during my teenage years because you already know my story. My grandmother who raised me, who you're named after, died when I was 13 from throat cancer.
Hmm.
And I moved in with my mom. Now, my mom had a full time job, my dad had a full time job, so we hardly saw them. So I had to grow up quickly. And I realized that at the teenage years, whether you have a complete, family environment and doing what you need to do, you have, um, how do I say, you have that people telling you good and this and that. When you're in a situation where, as a teenager, you must do what you have to do for yourself, then you find that you're in that bridge. So going back to my old talk about the bridge, you're halfway there. You're part adult, part child because you want to grow up so that you can do the things you need to do, but you want to stay a child. So you're in that quandary, so to say, where you don't know where
Yeah.
you're at this moment because it's hard. You know, I was moved out of my house at 18 and I moved into and I had a relationship with a woman who had 4 kids, also 13 years my senior. So I had to grow up quickly,
Hmm.
and for me, I want teenagers to know that they have the power to do something, but they don't have to invoke it. I want them to know that just, age doesn't mean anything. When I went to the police department, I was one of the youngest people hired. And they said, anyone in here under 21? And I raised my hand. I was 18 turning 19. And they were like, well, if you signed the contract, you're old enough to do a job. And that was literally what they said. And from that day forward, and you guys always got on my case, when I do a job, I have to do it to completion. And that's because it's been drilled into me. Things have changed with generations. Trust me, I've been in management roles. I'm a supervisor now. And the mentality of that has gone away.
Hmm.
COVID to me should also have given people that lesson that anything can be taken away from you in a moment's notice.
Oh
So
yeah.
you want to be able to be strong and be there. And I don't care if you're 15 years old or 115 years old. Commitment to me, and you already know how
Oh yeah,
commitment is for me.
commitment's big.
And if you make a commitment to do something, and I mean, even if you make a commitment to yourself, you do it and you do it to exhaustion. Pretty much the way it was said to me was commitment is doing the things that you were said you were going to do long after the feeling you said it in is gone.
Yeah, do it to completion. Absolutely. Um, I totally agree because I think now it's like, since like I said, we're getting back into being confident in doing things. I've definitely done a lot more things with myself as well, and that has been a motivation of mine is doing it to completion. Like he informed me that we believe in unity. You can look that up yourself. That's a lot of explaining. I always make up a description every different time. But he told me that they don't have a board game or a musical, things that I love in design for Unity people. So I was like, challenge accepted. And right now I'm working on a board game for Unity. I'm working on a musical. I mean, it's still in the process. Musicals take a lot longer than I thought they would. Board games, however, can are a lot quicker. But I've learned that I'm really motivated because I stick to what you've always said. It's like if you commit to something, you commit to completion. Now, of course, we get distracted, and like I said, I'm a procrastinator by heart. But like I said, if you keep that momentum up and you find that motivation, you can accomplish anything, honestly. And I'm proud of saying that because I'm glad you taught me that because there's times where I'm like, I'll do it later and just never get it done.
Yeah, there's once we start the Sunday sessions, I plan to start introducing some folks on my Wisdom Wednesday. And
Books.
yes, and you already know my thing. And they've been my impromptu mentor. And there's a book that I plan to start with. So this Wisdom Wednesday will be the last of the five principles. So next Wisdom Wednesday, I probably will start the book. And it's
Mhm.
literally called, and this is no joke, so cover your ears if you're under the age of 13.
Oh,
You deserve this shit. Okay? And it sounds funny, but that book kept popping up on my Facebook, my YouTube, my and I'm like, okay, I got the hint. Buy the book. And I bought it, and I will tell you it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Very simple ways, but even he said the same thing. He says, I have days, and we all do, that we get home from work, we get home from school, we get home from wherever, and we're just tired and we don't want to do the things we know we have to do.
hmm.
But you got to get past that. Even if you give it an hour, give it 2 hours. You know, I'm hardcore. I mean, I tell people all the time, if you want me to mentor you, I'm not going to sit there and hold your hand, and you know that because I'll give it to you just as hard.
Yeah.
Okay, but the whole point is, if you're going to treat it like a hobby, it's going to treat you like a hobby, and
Mhm.
that's plain and simple. Because if you can pick up a TV remote, if you can pick up a remote, if you can sit back and do nothing, you can take part of that time, because self care is important. Never take that away from anybody. But if you can take a part of that time, so if you're binge watching Netflix and an episode is an hour, can you take one episode that night and say, I'm going to work on myself, my business, my schoolwork, whatever it is, and do that every day? And when you get that consistency, there's a book called um, Just Make Your Bed, and it's written by a naval officer of all people. But he says that when you create that habit of just making your bed every morning, and I just started, so don't get on my case. I'm usually rushing out of bed to do something.
I gotta work on
But if you start with
that.
that, it starts building a consistency. That consistency builds habits. That habits builds actions, and that action builds your confidence. So I'm going to bring it right back to where we started.
All right.
So make your
Make your bed. Right?
bed.
The lesson here is to make your bed. No. No, but I totally agree. And with that, pretty much covers everything in summary because it's like he says, action is a big part of it. Um, like he said, make your bed, but no, start something, make it become a habit, make it become that action, and then you'll gain your confidence that way. And just keep being motivated and create a routine and just build to become better. And that's the way to build confidence. One thing I do want to mention as well, more like an announcement than like advice, but I'm pretty sure all of us teen adults and anyone younger, and I mean, you oldies got it too. But TikTok is a big thing nowadays, and I have started a TikTok account where confidence is definitely key in the things I do. So, I mean, I do throw in my songs in there because I like covers and things like that. But I do little videos about inspirational messages. I'm working on confidence boosting lessons here and there. I'm doing solo dates. What if you guys don't know what that is? It's sum up pretty much dating yourself, which will also bring your confidence up, which I have done a lot of, and it does help a lot. So definitely check that out. The my TikTok will be at the bottom, and as well as that. But as always, thank you for coming. We love
And you,
you. There's
nothing
nothing
you
you
can
can
do
do
about
about
it.
it. And we'll see you next time.